Right, I'm going to do a little bit of a help tutorial. Hey guys, doing a tutorial. No, not that gay. So, I just want to go over what some of these records and hints now come up with on Ancestry. You see we have a William Anderson here. He was born Anderson, England. He was born in 1740 in Goochland, Virginia. And if we go down, we have William England, death 1803, which is similar to 1801, but it's not quite correct. And this William England is born in Manchester. Now, if you keep on scrolling down, we have other records mixed in for the Virginia William England. And then again, the English one, Northampton, Dorset. But what we don't have is a record for flying over or getting a ferry over. So this is where I've stopped with this line, because I believe it is incorrect. So if I go on to the facts, that's the only record that I have for that one so far. But as you can see, there's other records available. If I go on to this other one, we have 1910 census for Wyatt Chapel Sears, Alabama, Virginia records. We've got death certificates. Normally I'll go for birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates. When I'm in the USA, I will look for flights and things like that. Now, if I quickly look for the other person that was in this tree, let me see if I can find them, that said that they were Scottish. Okay. And I was like, wow, I love this. They're Scottish. So we have the Daniel Stewarts, right? And I've stopped here. We've got some really good records here. Delaware, Scots on the Chesapeake, Sussex County, Delaware probate, passenger immigration. So we've got an immigration there. And if we view it, it says that he went to Maryland in this time. The Colden Peter Wilson settlers of Maryland, right? So if I look on it, it doesn't give me the actual information, so I cannot go in and see that. Is it this same Daniel Stewart? It very well could be, and it could be that he came over with his daughter. So we'll just go back and see if she's on that one as well. I think that she actually is. But no, we've got this one instead. We've got somebody else's tree, which I ignored. And that's probably a good sign as well when you look on the ones that I have actually ignored. So I'm not too sure with this one. I've ignored what? Undecided and ignored. John Daniel Stewart, I've ignored that one. Different name, different birth. Other people will have added that. Somebody else said that and I'm undecided about this Scotch colonists. I think it's because of the name Stewart, James Stewart. Let's see. And it's not the same Daniel Stewart. There's a John Stewart in Virginia at 1651. Not the right time. None of it's the right time. So I've ignored that one. A lot of people would have just added it because he was born in 1712. So I've stopped on that line. And now I'm going over to the where is he? The Stroud line, to see if I can have a look at that one. Plenty of information here for these people. We've got some photos of them from family members. 17 hints, all matching up. We'll just scroll down just to see if there's any discrepancies. A lot of them are photos. But as you can see, they all match up. So I will be getting on with that one later on. But I wanted to bring this up because if we look at my own tree, and I don't mind doing this, I'm very much given the situation where I find what we call as Frankenstein trees. So if I go to Wellington, and here you can see I have Elizabeth, key to the royal door of the Wrights, Wellington. Okay. Now, actually, is she the key to the door of the Wrights Wellington line? We shall see. Because the other day I had her related to, I think it was Maud Devoe, who is then married into, I think she was a Lestrange. She's part of the Green of Bocton families. I call them Bocton. Sometimes they're of Drayton Manor, Drayton area. Now, I had this chappie here. He was married, when I very first started, to Maud. Okay? And we'll see if we can find her here. Maud Lestrange. Maud Devoe. Okay, so when I first started, I had him married to her. Now, she is my 9th cousin anyway, so it makes absolutely no difference. But I thought, if I get rid of this person, this marriage between Maud and Wellington, is this going to mess up my lines? Now, some people aren't going to like this, but no, it doesn't mess up my lines because I have multiple royal lines. Multiple lines to the Nevilles, and I'm constantly finding a new person with new information about how I'm related to these people. So I got rid of that. And then I had issues with my Cobhams, Lords of Cobham. Now, luckily for me, we'll just go to this one. Elizabeth Cobham is my 3rd cousin, okay, and she's my 3rd cousin through my mother. We just have a look at her. Obviously, I don't have any information for these people here. I've done this through checking online, through other resources. So I've gone through the complete peerage book. So we've got all of the Courtenays, and then Margaret Courtenay, daughter of Hugh de Courtenay, had Catherine Cobham, who married into the Celliards. Now, the Celliards were a very, very high gentry family, along with the Paulins were gentry of Cornwall. So then I've gone into the Celliards, and the Celliards and the Sulliards are pretty much the same family. But then this goes back down to my mother and down to myself. So I don't really have issues. And I mean, this was funny. Eleanor de Clare was my grandmother, I think. And then she turned into, what was it? Joan of Arc. Yes, she was my grandmother. And now, because of Ancestry, she's turned into my great aunt. She's not my great aunt. She's my grandmother, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then we've got her mother is my grandmother again. So I wanted to just go over how sometimes, and even look, Isabella of France, North America families. Let's have a look at this record here. Why is that in a North America family? Okay, obviously it's right information, but why would that be like tied to... And this is it. It's because it's somebody in North America has added it and wanted... or their lines are part of this line. And that's fair enough. But, I mean, that bit gets confusing. So, when it comes to Ancestry, it's important to... especially when you're first starting in the first 100 years or so. So if we go to this chappie's tree overview, you will see how I have gone through some of these families. So we're in the first 100 years here. That's how I deal with my tree. Okay. We have got multiple records. Absolutely multiple. And this goes on for this family for the next God knows how long. I think his father, I did exactly the same. I'll just go on and check. So his father, I did exactly the same. His father, exactly the same. His father, exactly the same. We're into the 1700s now, people. Okay. So we've got to have a good 300 years worth of... That's an amazing one. 300 years of absolute confirmed information. And we have, like I've said earlier, you know, we have discrepancies with the English information, but then we also have the colonial families of the USA, which therefore verifies this information. They moved over and colonized, I think it was, Delaware area. So that was fantastic to find this. Let's just go back. We're in 1630s. 1633. More records with 8 still there. I can't be bothered to wait for that. Yeah, they don't like it. When you start getting somewhere, they don't like it. Then we had John Hunter. After this point, we have 11 hints. I went out to find this information. So I've got to clear that up. And that's where I've got with that one. But also, I think it's very good if we go to this line. And we'll just quickly skim over this one. Let's see if we can find them in the tree. For the mother. Viewing tree. Because we start off in Texas, in Dallas. King Henry. I'm obviously not going to be doing that one just yet. King William Perry, probably just a pseudonym. Definitely wasn't a King William Perry, we all know that. But I'm sure somebody will add that, and then they will say that they were royalty somewhere. So with this family, went back to 1623. ended up in Walborough in Oxfordshire, and the information provided is outside of Ancestry, and it tells you who they were, where they came from, and I think that they were part of a prestigious house. I can't remember what it was called, but then you specifically have married to Hannah Glover, his wife, 2 small children, emigrated to America. They were the Quakers, right? So we've got this information. I know bits that I need to clean up on it, but then I haven't added any more yet. I think there was a book the other day about this family. And one of the ancestors had written it. So we'll say Gilpins. I'm going to have to find it. What was that thing called? It was a hall. It was a prestigious hall. It's not my tree. Blast it. Right, so I'm not going to do that. Floor flattened. Right. But I looked at the Gilpins of this hall. And that's what we came up with. I wonder if it's actually on here. Mill Hill. I wonder what it was. But it turned out that he was part of this English family. Now, if I keep on going back with this line, with the surname like Gibson, I'm going to find some Scottish ancestry in there somewhere. But it's something that I'm coming back to every now and then, because this family was quite prominent in the from the 1600s to the 1800s, 1900s, with logging, timbers and things like that. And they were quite well to do for. And I think that these are the stories that matter the most. It's going to be fantastic when we actually do find this Scottish ancestry. Or, I mean, we've already travelled from Texas and Virginia and Delaware all the way back to Oxfordshire. So, yeah, when we find this information, it's going to be even more fantastic. But what is an amazing thing is the amount of information that this chap has with his ancestry already. It just kind of blows you away a little bit, really. I haven't done that because I don't do children. I don't do the children. That it doesn't really matter. But yeah, there's a lot to be proud of when it comes to doing your ancestry. So with me, obviously, I love being related to nobility and royals and gentry, and it does become a tangled web. But I think the stories of my great-great-grandmother, Annie MacDonald, the great seer, she was renowned in her area for being a spiritualist and into being able to speak to the other realms. So for me, having my certain gifts that I don't normally use on an everyday basis, but it just, for me, it cements that, yeah, I'm a bit of a wicked witch of the West. And that's absolutely fantastic for me. It's given me what I want. Don't really have that many pirates that are related to me directly, but then I've got my McDonald's, I've got my Logans, I've got all of the lines that are surrounded by Robert the Bruce, and then I have Robert the Bruce as well. But the stories of my ancestors carrying Robert the Bruce's head, well, I can't remember where it was off the top of my head, to Jerusalem, or carried his head or his heart somewhere. Those are the stories that matter. So it's not necessarily always about royalty. If you do come across issues with your own tree, I am here to help. It is a paid service. This chappie has paid me. I've just finished on one person's tree because I've got them the De Veres, I've got them William Shakespeare. They can go and run away with that now. I've got a new client that I'm working on their tree, and also I'm writing my other books. So, I will be able to help on a paid service as and when I get the time for it, because I don't want it to consume me, because I'm also at the same time building hay barns, looking after goats and hens and horses, and sorting out my egg business, which only pays very little amount, but we do these things for our lifestyle and to keep us happy. But that's it in a nutshell. When you're doing your ancestry, and all of this for me is going to be cleared up, I'm going to have these 15 hints. We're going to have long lines. So make sure that your ancestry and all of your records line up for at least 300 years. You'd be very lucky if you can get to the 1600s and get records like these, because a lot of people get to a stumbling block and can't get those records anymore. But then that's when we go into the other books. We go to the parish records. We go to the complete peerages. If you can't find it in Debrett's, or you look in the upper gentry records of Scotland. My weir line is in the upper gentry of Lanarkshire, because we are Veres, right? And this is a very important thing, okay? We are Veres. We are royal, absolutely. But was I given a title? No, I wasn't. Do I question that quite a lot in my lifetime? Yeah, I do. Am I scorned? No, I'm not scorned. The last title was Aubrey de Vere, the last 20th Earl of Oxford. No other titles passed on down. Do people assume the surname Vere? Yes, they absolutely do, because they're scorned and they want to look good, especially over in Ireland. They want it to hang on to this Jane Vere married Henry Hunt thing. Fair enough, but Jane Vere didn't have a title, yeah? Her dad did, but then if her dad had a son, which he did, that title would have got passed on. The reason why these Vere Hunts were rich was probably because, they had a vast amount of lands, was probably because of this marriage. And the thing is, what happens over the years is it gets watered down, yeah? You get your Edward de Veres who goes and squanders it all and ends up with absolutely nothing. At one point, you're next Chamberlain to the king, and then you've gone and fudged it all up, and you've had that title taken away from you, and or the privileges taken away from you. And over the years, this is what happens. Our houses burn down, our privileges get taken away from us. We marry into lower classes, and before you know it, we're all the same. We're all the same people looking for our ancestry and saying, oh my God, but how come of this? How come of that? I'm royal, I'm this. And that does give us our identity, but it does not shape who we are as human beings. I think it's more important to be a good person, rather than waving the flag of shit rock around. So yeah. Do I have a title? Yeah, Princess of Shit Rock. Do I use it? No, only to the fantasists that don't know my sense of humour. Do I feel it has any relevance in my life? Absolutely not. Am I going to be usurping my father with this? No, I'm not. Would he care about what I've just said? No, he wouldn't. He would laugh his head off because he finds it as humorous as I do, and that's why he did it. So, yeah, I think that some people need to get to know us. To the people of Shiprock who do care about it and are clinging on to anything to become a literacy heir to Shiprock Throne, go for your life. That's hilarious. And my father was able to do that for you, so you are welcome. And it's everything is in whatever suits you. Yeah. If it's within your satisfaction, then fair enough. Leave them to it. And if people want to call me Princess of Shiprock, then that's hilarious, but you can only call it to me if I know you and I know you well. But does this exclude Drakenberg as a title? Absolutely not. No, it doesn't. It doesn't remove any of the hard work that my father did, because that is set in stone. It's set in Shiprock. And it just kind of shows you the intelligence and the genius of a man that was able to move mountains, to get what he wanted. And then he was recognised for creating and having this title, being given this title, and then creating Drakenberg. He was also able to get onto the United Nations. So, yeah, he was a genius in his own right. And I do take the title on for the fact that I now own the sovereign Grand Duchy of Drakenberg. And it's like I said, for any fantasists out there that are living in crazy, crazy delusional land, yeah, I'm a bloody princess, okay? If I could go and buy an island, put a flag on it, call me a princess, I probably would do that as well. But yeah, that's the end of that. Make sure that you've got all of the right information. Don't just randomly add a De Vere here, a Neville there. If anybody's ever been offended by anything that I've said, then, you know, we've worked together on this, really, because you've made me go and look at my Cobhams, you've made me look at my Wellingtons. I've removed those certain lines that were incorrect. And then, as I found yesterday and the day before with the Sandys and the Wyatts, it's given me another 2 lines to the Cobhams anyway, and then another line back to Uhtred. Fantastic. We all love a bit of Uhtred, don't we? So yeah, don't hate on me if I say that I think that your information is wrong. From now on, I'm not going to tell you that your information is wrong. I'm still going to address you in exactly the same way, which is okay, but it's not in a way to scorn you. I am here to help. All right.